Hello once more, everyone. Welcome back to my NFL prediction videos back here on my channel, back here on YouTube for 2022. Here in the Week 17 prediction videos, before we get into it, I have a lot of things to discuss. After I went 7-0 last week, my record improves to 73-38-1. Second time I went 7-0 in the year, back in Week 9 and back in Week 16 last week. So 2 weeks, 2 times this year when I went 7-0. Last year that didn't happen at all. Happened in the wild card round last year for 2021 in the playoffs when I went 6-0, and then during Super Bowl 56. Well, that was only one game, so I guess it counts if you go 1-0 in a week for the Super Bowl. So yeah, here we are, Week 17. Getting ready, 7 new games on the schedule. Playoff implications on the line this week in Week 17 as well. So with that being said, let's get into our NFL prediction videos for week number 17 coming up right now. So let's get into it, everyone. Here we go. First one of the matchup. Dallas, Tennessee, between the Titans and Cowboys, Thursday night football. A game that's going to be interesting to see. Cowboys, who beat the Eagles 40-34 over the weekend on Saturday, on Christmas Eve, and that was a good matchup to see and watch. I thought the Eagles would pull it out, but the Cowboys ultimately avoiding getting swept by the Eagles last week. So, I think the Cowboys will keep that one, keep the wins going. I think they're going to upset Tennessee this week. Tennessee now in second place in the division. Surprise, surprise. I think the Cowboys will get the win this week and get the big win on the road on Thursday night in Tennessee. Tennessee's down to their backup quarterback, Malik Willis, because Ryan Tannehill's done for the year. So I think Dallas and Dak Prescott going into Tennessee on Thursday night have a better chance. I think they definitely get the win on Thursday night, and I think the Cowboys are going to spoil Tennessee's playoff hopes by winning on Thursday night. Moving on toward the next matchup, down in Houston, Texas, on Sunday afternoon. The first matchup on Sunday. The Houston Texans, who are one win and one tie this year, and the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence, with first-year head coach Doug Peterson, who won a Super Bowl with the Eagles in Super Bowl 52. He's the Jaguars playing like they're a playoff team. They definitely are. They're in first place in the division now. Will they continue that run? I think they will, going to Houston, who only has one win. But I think it can be a game that traps them to possibly get a loss, potentially. But I think Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, has a good offense. In his second year, has a better team. New head coach, who has won a Super Bowl before, been to the playoffs, knows how to get a team to win. And I think the Jaguars will get the win this week on the road in Houston, because I don't know how good Houston is. Houston's a tough team to watch, and they're pretty good, though. But I think the Jaguars, though, are the better team of the two, and with another division that's very weak, just like the NFC South. The AFC South themselves aren't a good division. The Titans, who are in last place with one win and one tie and a lot of losses piling up. You have the Tennessee Titans, who are 7-8, and the Jaguars, who are 8-7. Then you have the Colts, who have like 4 wins, 12 losses, and 1 tie. So I think the Jaguars go into Houston and get the job done on Sunday with Trevor Lawrence of the Jaguars, and I think they improve. I think they win. If they win this week, they can potentially clinch a division title only if Tennessee loses. So I'm taking the Jaguars this week on Sunday. Moving on, matchup number 3 between Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers. And this is another matchup where the Panthers are on the verge of making it to the playoffs. And the Panthers, all they need to do is win the next 2 games, and they're going to win the NFC South. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady, they need to win this game to stay in first place at 7-8, and the Jaguars coming in at 6-8 at this moment, or 6-9, I mean, at the moment. So I think Tom Brady and the Buccaneers playing back at home this week against the Panthers. It's a better matchup for them, a matchup they can definitely get a win in, and I think the Buccaneers and Tom Brady get it done, because if you know Tom Brady, you can never count Tom Brady and any team he's on out of any scenario, because they will make the playoffs for sure. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is really good, and I think they will get a win. Carolina Panthers, if they can get an upset on the road, that's going to be crazy to see, and sets them up to go into Week 18 and get a win in Week 18, and then they win the division basically with under 9 wins. If they can win out, for the Buccaneers, they need to win this game to be at 500, and then they need to win in Week 18 basically. So, but I think Tom Brady and the Buccaneers will get it done because you can never count Tom Brady out of any game. So Buccaneers are the team I'm taking this week. Moving on to our fourth matchup between the Washington Commanders and Taylor Heineke and the Cleveland Browns and Deshaun Watson. The Browns, yeah, just like last year, they're staying in it. They're going to be a team that's going to play spoiler. The Browns with the 6-9 record. Look at the Washington Commanders at 7-1. They're basically in the playoff. They're basically one of the last 3 wildcard teams in the NFC at this moment. A lot of scenarios need to happen for other teams behind them, which I'll tell you in a minute what that means. But this matchup looks like it's going to be a matchup that Washington basically, you need to win. If you win this matchup or win out this year, you're basically one of the 3 wildcard teams with the Giants and the Cowboys in your own division. You're going to have all 4 teams in the NFC East making the playoffs, which would be a crazy thing. I don't know if there's ever been a time where 4 teams from the same division have made the playoffs. That'd be crazy to see, I think, and crazy to fun football to watch with the same division making it. But it's a matchup that's going to be fun to see. Washington going up against the Cleveland Browns. The Washington Commanders, I think, are the team that's going to get the win. I don't think the Browns have what it takes. So I'm taking Washington with this matchup because they definitely, I think, get a win this week. So the Commanders are the team I'm taking over Cleveland to get the win on Sunday. Moving on to our next game between the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, so the Vikings. Okay, first place in the division. They're basically going to win the NFC North with 12 plus wins, 12-3 at the moment. And the Vikings need multiple scenarios open. They need the Eagles to lose the next 2 games, and the Vikings need to win the next 2 games to basically be the number 1 seed. I doubt that's going to happen, and I'll tell you why. Aaron Rodgers, everyone knows his story. He's just like Tom Brady. You can never count him out. He only has 1 Super Bowl, unlike Tom Brady, who has 7. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers basically need to win this week and in Week 18 to make it. They need a lot of scenarios to happen. Even though I just said Washington, I predicted Washington to get a win a minute ago, and I said Washington gets a win. That basically would knock Green Bay out, the Packers out. But the Green Bay Packers need multiple scenarios to happen for them, including a Washington loss. But I do think Aaron Rodgers and the Packers get this. I think the Packers and Aaron Rodgers playing at home in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where it's going to be probably cold. Who knows what the weather's going to be like. Usually it's freezing in Green Bay the first of the year on January 1st, which will be on Sunday, on New Year's Day. But it's going to be a hard matchup, I think, for both teams, between the Vikings and Packers. I think Green Bay, though, gets the win at home this week against the Vikings, because the Vikings, late seasons, Kirk Cousins has issues when it comes to playing on the road against teams in his own division, including the Packers and Bears, but he did beat the Bears this year on the road, so yeah. But the Packers, I think, get the win this week behind Aaron Rodgers, and I think they stay alive. The Packers, I do need Washington and New York Giants, one of those 2 teams, to basically fall and lose the next few games. Even though I said predicted Washington, the Commanders get the win, I think the Giants need to get the loss this week, though, even though they're not in the predictions this week. But I think the Packers and Aaron Rodgers get the win on Sunday, sending the Vikings to 12-4, eliminating them from number 1 seed. That means the Vikings would, at the moment, get the number 2 seed. But yeah, taking Aaron Rodgers and the Packers on Sunday. Moving on to our Sunday night matchup for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, who recently clinched a playoff berth. The Ravens, yeah. Lamar Jackson of the Ravens Steelers and Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky, whichever one's the starting quarterback of the team. It's hard to follow the Steelers this year. Their first losing record in a long time under Mike Tomlin. Steelers have never had a losing season under Mike Tomlin in his coaching career. But this matchup, yes. The Ravens is a wildcard team. I think this Baltimore Ravens team, if Lamar Jackson can stay healthy this year, he comes and plays healthy this playoff year as a wildcard team, I think the Ravens are going to be the team that no one's going to want to face as a wild card. No one's going to want to face them if they're going to be the toughest wild card team to face when it comes to the playoff time. And I think that over the next 2 weeks, the Baltimore Ravens are going to try to prove why they're going to try to win a division. They still have a chance, I think, but they need a lot of scenarios to happen against including the Bengals, to lose. And they finished the year with the Bengals, which is interesting to see. That might be a game next week for the Week 18 predictions. But the Ravens, I think, are the team that definitely gets a win this week against the Steelers, and I think improves their chances at getting a division title. And we know, everyone knows the story. The Ravens are a pretty good team. They should be a good team, and they know how to win. And I think they get a win this week. Moving on to our last game of the day, the Monday night game between the Bengals and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Matchup on ESPN for Monday Night Football. Should be interesting to see, I think. And this game is going to come down. You have the Bills, who are currently the number 1 seed, the Bengals, who are currently the number 3 at the moment, with 4 losses. I think this game is going to be a win-to-win scenario. I think this game is going to be tight going in. It's going to come down to the team that has the ball last for the win, and possibly going to overtime. Possibly. This game, I think, could set up a good game that goes to overtime. And this is basically a playoff game. A game that's going to be between the Bills, who want to be the number 1 seed, basically, if they win over the next 2 weeks, or win the next 2 games, or win one of the next 2 games, they could potentially win the number 1 seed. But they need Kansas City to do things too. They need Kansas City to lose one of their last 2 as well. But I think this matchup is going to be a game that the Bengals get the win. I think the Bengals upset the Bills for number 1 seed and knock the Bills into number 2 seed or number 3 seed. Downmate the Kansas City Chiefs, the number 1 seed, if the Bengals win, which I think will happen. And I think Kansas City Chiefs fans this weekend, they're going to be cheering for the Bengals to get the win against the Bills, because the Bills only beat Kansas City for the number 1 seed at the moment. The Chiefs are a game back, same record basically, 12-3, both 12-3. So the Chiefs need to be Bengals fans. Kansas City Chiefs fans like myself need to be cheering for Cincinnati on Monday night, and I'm taking the Bengals this week on Monday Night Football. So, that being said, it's time to go over to recap for the Week 17 predictions. Who I'm taking. Starting out in Tennessee on Thursday night between the Cowboys' Dak Prescott and against Malik Willis. Go with the Cowboys in that one. Down in Houston on Sunday afternoon. Going with Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars over to Houston Texans in Tampa Bay on Sunday. Going with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers over to Carolina Panthers in Washington, D.C. In Washington between the Commanders and the Cleveland Browns. I'm taking Taylor Heinicke and the Browns. Taylor Heinicke and the Commanders over the Browns and Deshaun Watson this week for Week 17. In Green Bay for the Packers and Vikings, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers and the Packers against Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, because I think the Packers and Aaron Rodgers can get the job done. They always know how to get the job done in the playoff races for some reason, but they just can't make it to the Super Bowl since Aaron Rodgers won Super Bowl 45. Then in Baltimore on Sunday night, I'm taking the Ravens over the Steelers. And on Monday night, I'm taking the Bengals and Joe Burrow over Josh Allen and the Bills. As a Kansas City Chiefs fan, you know the Chiefs fans are going to be cheering hard for Cincinnati on Monday night to upset the Bills out of the number 1 seed. So, that being said, I'm done with the Week 17 predictions. A few messages I want to point out. Happy New Year's to everyone. Hope everyone has a great New Year's day on Sunday, watching some NFL games. And I'll be back with next week's Week 18 predictions back on Tuesday. And plus, another message for the playoffs in 2 weeks from now. The playoff videos will be moving to Thursday, just like last year. Moving the playoff prediction videos to Thursday for NFL predictions. So those will be on Thursday in about 2 weeks from this coming Thursday. So, hope everyone enjoyed, and if you did, you know what to do. Please comment below who your favorite team is playing if you think they're going to win. And also, don't forget to watch, like, and subscribe. And don't forget to tell your friends to do the same if they're not done so already. And also, please hit the notification button below so you know when I upload a new video. That being said, have a nice day, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next NFL prediction video right back here next Tuesday for Week 18. Have a nice day, stay safe, and peace out, everyone. Bye for now. Bye.